Senator from Utah.
Madam President, this is really an amazing moment as far as I can see. Sometimes for those watching on C-SPAN, the Senate, with its unique rules, can seem like a pretty arcane place. The impact of unanimous consent requests are not something that ordinary folks talk about. So let me put this in plain English. The Senate's Republican leader has just made a remarkable offer to our friends on the other side, the Democrats. We hear all the time from the left that the Republicans refuse to do anything in the Senate, which certainly is mind-boggling. Remember this episode the next time you hear that. My friend and colleague, the senator from Kentucky and Republican leader Mitch McConnell, presented this body with an opportunity to take a stand, to take a vote, and two votes as a matter of fact, and to show the American people our cards on the most important issue facing this country, the coming fiscal cliff. In exchange for a vote on the amendment I introduced to extend all of the 2001 and 2003 tax relief for 1 year, the Republican leader agreed to a vote on the president's counteroffer that would increase taxes on families and small businesses. You heard that right. The Republican leader offered a vote on President Obama's plan to raise taxes. And the Democratic leader rejected this offer. It's mind-boggling to me. Senate Democratic leadership turned down an opportunity to vote on President Obama's tax increase bill, the bill that he insists is the only acceptable way to address the fiscal cliff. After today, all of the president's surrogates, if they are honest, will have to rewrite their talking points about the do-nothing Republicans in the United States Senate. Senate Democratic leadership is effectively filibustering, and that's the real use of the term, the President Obama's tax increase bill. Did everyone out there hear that? They are filibustering their own bill by not agreeing to equivalent votes here. So what does that tell us? Here's what it tells us. It tells us that the president's tax increase plan is not just an economic disaster, it's a political loser, and they know it. It tells us that in spite of the big talking from the president's Chicago re-election campaign about evil Republicans who want to extend all of the 2001 and 2003 tax relief, vulnerable members of the Senate's Democratic Conference do not want to be anywhere near the president's tax increase alternative. To borrow from the film Top Gun, the president's campaign is writing checks that Senate Democrats can't cash. Or as we Westerners like to say, the president's all hat, no cattle. He's tipping his tax increase Stetson, but he does not have enough of a herd in the Senate to follow him. And keep in mind, the Democratic leadership is not just filibustering the president's tax increase proposal. That leadership is also filibustering my tax relief proposal as well. And I suspect that they are filibustering this amendment because they are afraid it would pass. 40 Democrats in this chamber supported the extension of the 2001 and 2003 tax relief in 2010. 40 Democrats. And they would probably do so again if they had a chance. So the Democratic leadership has decided to deny them that chance. The president is asking for compromise. Well, he's looking at it. As the ranking member on the Senate Finance Committee, I have deep reservations about temporary tax policies. Temporary tax policy does not provide the certainty to small businesses and families that are necessary for long-term planning and investment. If a small business does not know what its tax bill is going to be next year, they are not going to be doing any hiring. We all understand that. So it's not surprising to me, with next year's tax rates up in the air, that we just saw the worst quarter of hiring in over 2 years. But in the interest of preventing a tax increase that would further hamper the economy, I am willing to set aside the virtue of permanency for the time being. My amendment would just extend the 2001 and 2003 tax relief for 1 year. And during that year, we would work on doing what's right with regard to tax reform. The Finance Committee is prepared, willing, and able to do that. The amendment that I filed with my friend, the Republican leader, is in itself a compromise because we have offered a further compromise. Fair is fair. We have our proposal. We want to keep taxes low for all Americans, particularly with our economy on the ropes. And the president has his proposal. He wants to raise taxes on small businesses even as his prospects for economic growth and job creation, look increasingly bleak. So let's have these votes. Let's get on the record. Our constituents sent us here to make hard choices. It's time to put our money where our mouths are. If the president and his party really think that it is morally reprehensible to extend all of the 2001 and 2003 tax relief, then they should vote against it. If they really think that raising taxes is the way to go, then vote for the president's plan. Madam President, I wish I could say that I was shocked, but this is just par for the course. We've been watching this now for a couple of years. I know that the hand-wringing Washington pundits like to blame Republicans for the lack of progress on the fiscal cliff. But this episode should show once and for all what a fiction that is. Republicans are ready to act. They are ready to vote. We can vote on my amendment to extend tax relief to all Americans and on the president's proposal to deny that tax relief to small businesses. We can do what our constituents sent us here to do. We can vote and let the better plan win. The Democratic leadership, fearful of the embarrassing reality that their own conference has serious reservations about the president's tax hiking agenda, is now filibustering their own bill. And they're now filibustering President Obama's signature tax policy. Those who continue to talk about the president's re-election prospects in glowing terms need to reevaluate that narrative. President Obama thinks that that the ticket to his re-election runs through Tax Hike Valley. He is going to succeed where Walter Mondale failed. President Obama's signature economic policy is a promise to raise taxes on job creators when we are facing the 40th straight month of unemployment in excess of 8%. You don't need to do a sophisticated poll to figure out how popular this policy is in swing states or with independents. Just look at what happened here this morning. Republicans offered a vote on the president's plan, and Democrats balked at the opportunity. Democrats are filibustering President Obama's signature domestic policy, a bill to increase taxes. And they are doing so because many members of their own conference know that a vote for these tax increases would sink them back home. They know that. Madam President, this is a pathetic spectacle, made even more so by the fact that time is running short. The fiscal cliff is approaching, and families and businesses need to know what their tax rates will be next year. To date, the Senate's Democratic leadership has done absolutely nothing to provide that certainty. It really is disgraceful what we're witnessing this morning. We need to put politics aside and have these votes. Madam President, I renew the Republican leader's unanimous consent request. I don't see any Democrats here, so I will not make that without them here. But I would renew it and ask that we immediately proceed to debate and votes on my amendment to extend tax relief to all Americans and on the president's tax increase plan. President Obama seems to think that he has a winning issue here. It might be good for him, but delaying resolution of these tax rates is putting partisan goals ahead of the common good. And the American people deserve better than this. And what really is really mind-boggling to me is for our leader to tie up the parliamentary tree so no real amendments can be voted on. And we offer him a vote on the president's proposal, and he accuses us of filibustering when he refuses to allow that vote. Now, for that, we'd like to have a vote on our proposal for the 2001 and 2003 tax relief that we know needs to be effectuated. And then what really boggled my mind is when the leader talked in terms of the Republicans are filibustering. Give me a break. We've asked for two major votes, one on the president's own proposal, and the other on my proposal to extend those tax cuts for one more year, during which both sides should come together and work together, compromise together, and come up with a new reformed tax code that doesn't continue to eat us alive. Madam President, I'm absolutely amazed at what happened.